Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos, and we have our last NFL divisional preview, and it's our home division, the AFC East. As you can see, PB's wearing Pats for now. I have a funny feeling he's going to change up in a minute. I'll keep my Pats on, though. Maybe not my pants, but by the way, the PB&Z Survivor Football League, we are the creators of Survivor Football. Survivor Football Draft is all about Fantasy Survivor. I'm sorry, Fantasy Survivor. It's all about you pick your players, you're stuck on them for the whole year, injured reserve or not. We go with 6 players. We started with 4. We do go with 6, but only 4 players count. And if you lose 1 or 2 during the season, you're in trouble. But your quarterback, your running back, and a wide receiver has to count during that weekend's games, right, PB?
Yep. And then you get 3 other guys, and one of those top 3 counts, and you have 2 guys that you can afford to have bad weeks, at least when there's no bye weeks, right? When the bye weeks kick in, it changes things up a little bit. And if a guy gets hurt, you still have a full stat. You can still put 4 guys on the field as long as it's your quarterback that doesn't get hurt. That's why we call it Survivor, though. You know, people love it. I mean, they either love it or they hate it, right? Some people
we're up to 32 players now, right? We got a full league,
and we can't go more than that. But A, the app won't let you, and B, you can't have more than 30. There's 32 teams. So
PB, I heard a rumor. There's a story out there. One of our participants may actually draft 2 quarterbacks.
You can't.
Why not? The other 2 guys are flex players. They can be anything.
No, it's a non-QB flex. The position.
I thought it was irrelevant as long as it's an offensive skill player.
No. If you click on the app and you go to the roster, and it says there's a tab that says position limits, and the limit is 1 on quarterback, so you can't draft 2 quarterbacks. It won't let you.
Can you open it up to 2 though?
I can do whatever the heck I want. I'm the commissioner, but I'm not doing it.
That's a unique idea, though. I wouldn't mind seeing a trial 1 year.
We could maybe do that.
It's interesting. It's an interesting concept. It's a little daring. But it's interesting concept, right?
It could be, yeah. But yeah, no, we're not doing that.
With 32 players, the second quarterback you take is probably not a starter eventually, right?
Right. And it is up to everybody to know the league rules, because you can go in and you can see all this stuff, but some people don't take the time to do that. So whoever has that theory that you just talked about, it would be good to tell them that that's not the way it works, and they only can draft 1, because they might be waiting till the very end, and then they'll draft like Justin Fields and what's his name, Russell Wilson.
You know what? Let's think about it before we do the draft Tuesday night. I'm a little interested in that. I'd like to see how it works out. If someone wants to be a sucker and give that a try, I'm curious how it works out.
Yeah, but I can't change the rules now midstream. I mean,
all right. Well, we haven't done the draft yet, so you're not changing it midstream.
Yeah, but I put the rules out to everybody, and no.
You act like people have been thinking about it all summer. Come on now.
They join the league based on the rules, so that's it.
All right.
Next year we'll think about it.
All right, let's go. AFC East. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be an interesting one. Everybody's high on the Buffalo Bills for the last few years. Personally, my opinion right now, the Buffalo Bills wide receiver room could be worse than the Patriots. Everybody says the Patriots have a horrible wide receiver room. You look at the Buffalo Bills, unless Keenan Coleman, the #1 draft pick, turns out to be a rocket superstar, I don't know that they have a great wide receiver room.
I don't think you're giving Curtis Samuel enough credit. I don't think you're giving Khalil Shakir enough credit. These are guys.
How long have they been in the league?
Well, Curtis Samuel's been in the league for a little bit of time. Shakir's a second or third year guy.
Correct. There you go. My case in point.
but Curtis Samuel's been around for a little bit, and he hasn't had good quarterback play. And even with guys like Sam Howell thrown to whatever, he still did pretty good. Plus, let's not forget too, they have one of the top 3 or 4 tight ends in the entire league, in Dalton Kincaid, who you.
By the way, I've heard enough fantasy talk over the last 2 days. Dalton Kincaid is the only guy they have, according to everybody on ESPN's fantasy leagues analysis team.
And I bet you know what? He could lead the team in receptions on the year. You know who could be second? Is James Cook.
Yeah, I agree. But the bottom line is their receiving room is not what it was last year. That's the bottom line.
Because you're absent Diggs, but Diggs
and Gabriel Davis. Gabe Davis. I thought Gabe Davis at the end of the year might have been better than Steph Diggs.
He did come up big and big when he needed
He
to.
did.
That's
He
true.
did.
But Diggs didn't do anything down the stretch, including the playoffs. So,
That's right. That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying. So there you go. So Gabe Davis probably outplayed him at the end of the year. By the way, they had a huge loss in preseason. Matt Milano again goes down, who may be their one or two best defensive players. According to the stats, he is the best defensive player. When you see the team performances in every category, goes
yeah,
down when he's on the field. So,
yeah.
all right, let's talk about
So
them. What do you see about their
yeah,
schedule?
so the thing that's tough with this is we start doing this 8 weeks ago, right? When we start picking other divisions,
Yeah.
and you have to go off of all those picks to pick your pick here, because I can't change it. If I change this, I have to go back and now change my other picks, because this is the last division we're doing. So aside from the divisional games, everything else is already predetermined based on my previous prediction. So I can't change it. The Vegas under over on this team right now is 10.5. I think this team can win 11 games pretty easily. I have them at 14-3 with losses at Miami, at the Jets, and at New England on the last game of the year, because Buffalo will have the first seed locked up and they won't play their starters. That's the only reason why New England beats them. So I have them split in the division, and I have them winning every single game outside the division, including at Baltimore, at Houston, at Seattle, at Detroit, at the Rams, home against San Francisco, home against Kansas City. I haven't won all those games.
Dude,
So I am a 14.
with that offense, I just don't see it. I look at it right now. I've got them between 12-5 and 9-8. I'm with you. They lose Miami. They definitely lose at Baltimore. Don't even let's not dispute that. They
I don't believe.
they
I
split the
don't.
Jets, so they lose at the Jets. I think KC comes in and wins that game in Buffalo. I think San Fran comes in and wins that game in Buffalo. And I think they go to Detroit later in the year and they lose that with a team that's much tougher than them physically towards the end of the season when they're a little bit tired. The New England game, I got New England only winning one game in the division, and I'm not going to say who it is yet. So the questionable games for me is they still have to go to Houston, playoff team last year. So that's a questionable game. And then I've got another questionable game in the Rams out at LA, which can always be tough. So this team to me is between 12-5 and 9-8. I'm going to venture on 12-5. I can't see. I just don't see 14-3. I can't see 14-3 with potential for 8 losses, and I'm willing down to 5. I can't get down to 3, so I see them only as 12-5.
All right, 12-5 would still be a good record. Probably enough to win the division, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it just came out. If I went back and had to redo this, I'd probably throw in another loss or two and probably have them right around that 12-5 number 2. But because I already picked, I don't know if you did that with yours, but go back and look at how you had them against all the other teams outside the division, but you can't change it, right? I mean, it's what
Right,
we
right.
picked. So
Yeah,
that's why I have them.
I did give some favorability to Buffalo, except for any games that the other team was playing at home. So,
Yeah. All
all right,
right.
let's go Dolphins. By the way, other other than Keenan Cohen, the draft was unimpressive for Buffalo. And I'll say the same thing. Other than Chop Robinson, the defensive edge player from Penn State for Miami, their draft was unimpressive, in my opinion, as well. So but they did sign Odell Beckham, and which did they need him? I don't know, but he could be asked if he plays well. So a team is playing with the roster from last year, basically at this point in time. What do you think about Miami?
Yeah. And well, they did lose the couple key defensive plays. Let's not
They
forget
did,
that.
yep, yeah, like
Xavier
yeah, the
Howard's
cornerback,
gone, right?
yep.
Wilkins is gone. There's some guys that are gone though.
So they
So
let some defense slip.
yeah, and I did see Chop Robinson in person. He does look pretty good. So I like that pick. So just switching over to the Dolphins cap just for this pick, and then I'll go back to my Patriots one. But I actually see this team coming out of the gates very strong. The under over in Vegas on this team is 9.5. And I think that's an easy over for this team. With their offensive weapons, they're going to go toe to toe with any team offensively, right? Their defense might be a little suspect, but I have them winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games to start the season.
You're gonna go
Jackson,
7-0? I gotta go 7-0 as well.
do you really?
I do,
Yeah.
yes.
I got it,
Yes.
but you know what? I have them losing the last 4 games of the year though. So they're going to be like the Philadelphia Eagles of last year. But I got them 7-0 up until they play all the way to Arizona, right? Then at Buffalo, I have a loss. But then I have them going on another big winning streak at the Rams, Vegas, New England, at Green Bay. That's a big win. That would be a huge win. I know you probably have Green Bay in that because it's going to be cold that time of year.
I do. I have Green Bay. I got Buffalo and I got Green Bay coming out of their bye week, I think it is, right?
Okay. And then I got the Jets at home. I get them winning that. But then at Houston, San Francisco, at Cleveland, at the Jets, I have 4 straight losses down the stretch there. With the only other loss being at Buffalo. So really I have them 12-1 after the first 13 games, and then losing the last 4. So I got them at 12-5. That would put them behind Buffalo in the standings, definitely in a wild card.
So the 2 games, so I do have them going 7-0, but I am concerned about the opening game. Jacksonville, that could be a toss-up game. I know it's at Miami, but it doesn't matter. They're both from Florida, right?
Yeah,
I'm with you on the Cleveland game, but late in the year, because it's at Cleveland. That's a challenge going to the Lakes region, right? So I'm with you on that one. And then the Rams game coming out of the bye after they lose to Buffalo. Did they have a hangover and lose to the Rams? I get them 12-5 potentially, but I think they're going to lose one of those toss-up games. So I get them going 11-6.
Okay. So you'd have them finish second in the division 2 behind Buffalo with 12 wins.
Yeah, but interesting. So I've got Buffalo 12-5, easily 9-8. I have these guys 12-5, easily 11-6. And where do you hear what I get to say about the Jets next? Let's talk about them. You ready?
But you have Miami on the books as 11-6.
11.
Right?
I'm going to go 11-6. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jets are next.
Yeah. And by the way, on the Jets, another team that didn't impress me with their draft, they took an offensive lineman from Penn State, Alua Fashanaro. I can't say that right. They made a big trade, I thought, in the offseason to get Hassan Reddick, who's now holding out. That doesn't prove to be a good deal for them. They signed Cowboy offensive tackle Tyron Smith. When healthy, that's a force, but they'll only get 10 games out of him because that's Tyron's history, 10 games, and then he's out for the rest of the year. So the Jets are going to be – it's all about injuries with these guys, all about injuries. And by the way, I had Buffalo 12-5, potentially being 9-8. I had Jets potentially being 12-5. I give them 11-6. Believe it or not, I think Jets could be 12. What's that?
Yeah. You mean the Dolphins, because you said the
Jets.
Yeah,
Dolphins. And I got the Jets potentially being 12-5, but that's not what they're going to be. But we'll talk about that. Go ahead, give me your thoughts.
All right. So the under over on this team, believe it or not, is the same as Miami, 9.5. So I love the over on Miami. This one, I might go with the under. I have them at 9-8, but I do have them with a strong start. I have them 8-4 after their first 12 games, but that last 5-game stretch at Miami, at
Jacksonville,
Rams at home,
at
Buffalo. And then you even got to play Miami again. So you play Miami twice in 5 weeks. I have them winning that game up in New York, though. But I have them losing those 4 games straight coming off of an 8-4 start. But those 4 losses, we put them at 8-8. And then they just win that last game to go 9-8. So here's a team that's going to look good. People are going to be excited about them. But then they're going to hit that skid. The 4 losses I have them is opening at San Francisco.
Yep.
I have them losing at home to Minnesota.
Oh,
I don't know why I put that in there, but I do. I have them losing at Pittsburgh, and I have them losing at New England.
So the Minnesota pick, PB, when you made that, you probably thought that the rookie, J.J. McCarthy, who's looked impressive earlier, would be the starter, and he's out, right? So there goes that theory.
Yeah. And I said, oh, the Jets going, well, no, it is at home, but I figured that's just the game that Minnesota might just win, but you're right. I can't go back on it. But that's the 4 losses I have them. I got them winning at Tennessee, beating New England, Denver. I got them winning Buffalo at home. I got them winning Houston at home, at Arizona, Indy, and Seattle. I mean, those are 8 wins.
Yep.
And 4 losses going after 12 games. So, but 9-8 is my final. I could see them maybe winning one of those games. I have them losing, and then losing one of those games I have them winning, and then maybe winning one of those games at the end and not losing 4 straight. But either way, I don't see this team winning 10 games.
So believe it or not, I had them potentially being 12, but I got a little wild card for you. The only division team that's going to lose to the Patriots once is going to be the New York Jets. And that's going to happen in week 8 at New England. So I get them losing week 1 at San Fran, week 8 against New England, week 9 at the Texans. I got them losing to Miami in week 14 when they go to Miami. I got them losing at the Jags, and I got them losing at Buffalo. So that put me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11-6. I got them 11-6.
Really? Wow. This is going to be the best division in football based on your record so far. You
But you know
have
what, people? You look at the strength of schedule, and they're playing against outer divisional teams are not that good, and they potentially have the worst other team in the league in their division than the Patriots.
right, and they're right. They all could potentially sweep the Patriots, but that's a lot. You got Buffalo 12 wins, and you got Miami and the Jets both at 11 wins.
Their
Three.
strength of schedule, the divisional out of division games are not that strong, in my opinion. I mean, they have a
Yeah,
couple, but they got favorability in those games depending on where they play at in the time of year. Don't
that'd
forget,
be
teams coming west. There's some teams coming west have to play here later in the year in the East, other than Miami. But those three other teams, that's a tough game to go. That's a tough road to hoe, right?
It is. It is.
All
But
right.
three teams with 11 wins or more in the same division. Whew,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a bold prediction right there.
it
They would
is.
all be in the playoffs, obviously.
They
Yeah.
would be. All right, let's
Yeah.
talk the Pats. Let's talk the Pats. And
Yep.
the first thing I got to say right now about the Pats, I know Drake May, everybody's saying he had a great second game. Don't start him. Don't start him. Green Bay proved this theory works well. Um, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. Brett Favre didn't play for the first couple of years. Jordan didn't play. This is now what, his third year, or last year was his third year, right?
He may have even been on the bench for 3 years. That might have been his
Yeah.
fourth year.
So
Yeah.
don't play Drake May, especially when you don't have a left tackle that can't even play college football, for Christ's sakes. Don't play the kid. Let him sit and watch unless Jacoby gets hurt. But by the way, if even Jacoby gets hurt, I don't think Bailey's happy to be around. Joe Milton is too much of he's too talented to not keep on that team someplace.
I agree with you there. I think Zappy's going to end up being the cut. But here's the thing: if Brissett's not getting the job done, I don't think they're bringing in Milton. I mean, I just don't think it's
I agree. They're going to bring in Drake May, but Milton, I think Milton has too much upside not to keep him on the roster.
Right, you got to keep him on the roster for sure. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. But here's the thing:
you can't keep four quarterbacks as a waste. So Bailey's got to go, unfortunately. But Bailey would be a great third. If Milton didn't get drafted, Bailey would have a place on this team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. So here's the thing with the Patriots. The under over in Vegas is 4.5.
Yeah.
It is the lowest under over total in Vegas right now. I think there's one other team that's also at 4.5. Maybe I can't remember who it is. That's not Carolina, because I think they're at 5.5 or 6.5. But there's another team that's 4.5 in addition to them. So I have them starting off slow. I mean, they play at Cincinnati. They play a good Seattle team at home. They got to go at the Jets. Then they got to go at San Francisco. And then they got to play Miami. Like, I don't see them winning any of those 5 games. I have them starting off 0-5. And then at some point after they're 0-3 or 0-4, there's your move to Drake May. If Drake May doesn't start week 1, which I could see where he wouldn't based on your theory, they're not going to let this team continue to lose games after they start 0-3 or 0-4. They're going to move to May at some point. I have the first win for the Patriots at home against Houston, believe it or not. I got to win in that game.
So you got them beating one playoff team, and I've got them beating one playoff team in the Jets.
Okay. All right. Well, I do have them beating the Jets. I have them losing to Jacksonville the following week, but then beating the Jets. I got them losing at Tennessee. I don't know why I picked this game this way, but I have them winning at Chicago. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But again, it's the way I picked when we were doing the NFC North, which was, I think, was the first division we did.
Yeah.
Rams lost. Miami, again, in Miami lost. I think they can win at home against Indy. I think they can win on the road in Arizona. I have them losing at Buffalo. I have them losing to the Chargers at home. And then I have them winning that token game at the end of the year because Buffalo's going to be clinched. And
okay, so you got to be another playoff team. All right. I'll tell you what.
I got them at 6-11, which is
that's a real reach. I had a hard time. Well, so I got them at 5-12, and I have a hard time getting there. To you to be 6-11, that's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy to me picking the other 3 teams all 11 or wins or better.
I know. I mean, obviously, I don't. I don't believe my own picks when I go back and look at it, because again, we've been doing this for almost 2 months now, and I have to go off of what I said in earlier shows about who I took. I don't see this game. I think if this team gets to 4 wins, that'll be pretty much where they should be. I don't see them getting to 5 or 6, but I have it.
Here's my only thing with them. I question everybody that says their wide receiver room sucks, because I'm not so sure they do. And if Jalen Polk or Javon Baker, and I think it's going to be more Jalen Polk, proves to be somebody, that's a big thing. I think Demario Douglas is going to have a big breakout year. They're tight ends, Austin, I forget his last name, Hooper, and then, of course, Hunter Henry, if he stays healthy. They're a solid tight end room. It's a better wide receiver room than I believe Buffalo would be. So I think they're going to be a little better than people give them for. The defense is going to be top 10, even though they lost Matthew Judon. But I'm hearing rave reviews about Keenan White out of preseason right now. And I had a lot of hope for him last year. So I think he's going to be the difference for Matthew Judon, even though that was a horrible trade. But going to the schedule, I had this all along, even when we talked about the West. Seattle does not come here, and I think it's week 3, to New England for a 1 p.m. home game, which is a 10 a.m. game in Seattle. There's no chance they win that game. So screw that one. Seattle, you losing. I get them losing the Jets. You had them losing to Buffalo. I get them losing one game. I winning one game against the Jets. I do see them beating the Tennessee team. I question the Chicago game, but the one I say that they don't, they win that, they lose that one, but they win Indy and they go out to Arizona and they win it. So they go 5-12 in my opinion.
Okay. All right. That's still pretty aggressive. I mean, I would love to see him get 5 or 6 wins this year. I mean, anybody who thinks this team can actually get close to 500's out of their mind. I mean, this team is just not that team right now.
But PP, that's the way unfortunately, that's the way the game's changed. But if you took their defense 9 years ago with the same offense and put them in the NFL, you say, holy shit, that team's going to win 8 games just on defense alone. Because it's that good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. That's a wrap on our divisional picks. Next up, our fantasy. We'll give you a highlight on that fantasy before we do our college preview show.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.